Revelations 2357. From the 3rd of June 1942. In faith in spiritual power, man is able to do everything. The most enormous problems can be solved effortlessly with the help of spiritual strength. What seems impossible to the human being alone he will be able to accomplish if he uses the spiritual strength at his disposal, and where earthly knowledge is limited there are no barriers for the human being who makes use of spiritual strength. The human being is incapable of doing anything without the supply of strength from spiritual beings, and yet he only rarely acknowledges the givers of this strength because, on the one hand, he lacks the knowledge and, on the other hand, he does not want to accept anything he cannot see or earthly prove. Yet this dismissive attitude is a shortcoming which results in a reduced supply of strength, for the spiritual forces can only come into action where they are recognized and thus consciously requested. However, the working of spiritual forces cannot be proven to people, they can only be informed about it, but only in such a way that they are not inevitably led to believe in spiritual forces. Spiritual strength is a divine influx, that is divine emanation which pushes everywhere where it finds no resistance. However, the divine emanation must be something effective in itself, that is, it must accomplish something. Anyone who is permeated by it must be able to accomplish something which surpasses earthly abilities, for the strength which directly flows from God to his living creations must enable the human being to do something which he would otherwise not be able to do. Consequently, the human being can accomplish things which seem extraordinary and which can nevertheless be explained in the simplest way with the supply of the flow of strength which God has intended for every human being but which is only very rarely utilized. And therefore there need not be anything extraordinary for the human being, for everything is explainable if he accepts the one thing that God gives the human being everything he lacks when the human being wants to receive it. If he believes that God is omnipotent, that he is therefore able to do everything and that God is the most loving being who would gladly give his strength to people, then it will no longer seem strange to him that he can also receive strength from God, and then he will consciously desire it, that is, request it. Only then can the spiritual forces go into action, that is, serve as mediators between God and people, thus receive the strength from God as mediators of strength and pass it on to people who, through prayer, make themselves receptive to this flow of strength again. And as soon as faith is strong, the human being will also use this strength for extraordinary activity. He will be able to accomplish what is otherwise impossible for him, he will penetrate areas of knowledge which are otherwise closed to him, and he will be able to achieve things which surpass human strength, for spiritual forces are always at work. A strength can always be utilized for which there are no limits to the possibility of implementation. For it is divine strength, the emanation from God, which turns God's love towards all his living creations and only requires their willingness to receive it. Amen.